Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to be going into Inferno 1 of the Frieren Collab's Beatdown Battle stage. This is to get the bingo board done for, I think, the Union missions, because there is one that needs us to, clear Inferno 1 right here, which, if you want to get these stones and you want to get this 5-star ticket, you're going to have to clear Inferno 1, which is going to require some certain zest in your team building. And by zest, I mean you're going to need not basic bitch teams. So the jump from normal EX2 Beatdown Battle to get like the free dupes of Stark, I mean, they have like 700 and something, 717,000 HP. You know, it's a lot for a medium to newer player. Inferno 1 jumps a little bit to 7.7 million. So that's why you need a little bit of zesty team building. Because if you don't have the Frieren collab, you're going to need some really, really strong alternatives to do 7.7 million on an AoE, or individual nukes of varying degrees of usefulness. So this video, not really geared towards the new players, it's geared more towards the mid-end game players, unfortunately, but if you're watching it just for entertainment, then have at it, and if you actually need team building help, then hopefully this helps you out. The only real difference between, the massive HP gap is that now greens are nerfed. Not for the entire fight like blues, 12 turns. Greens are nerfed in like a certain order, and there are a couple turns where they're not nerfed, but most of the time they are nerfed. Other than that, nothing is really different about this stage versus the EX2, besides having a butt ton more HP. So let's just go ahead and jump in. Alright, the first team is fairly straightforward. If you can build some kind of semblance of this team, you'll get the job done easily. We've got Himmel, we've got the OG Fire Shizu for the turn 1 orb change, and that's literally all she does here, so if you want to bring someone else or no one at all for that, be my guest. We've brought free-to-play Stark, we've got Wielder of Magic Shinsha, 1 for her EX ult damage buff for magic characters, and 2 for her protection gauge on oranges, helps us cycle better. We're running the protection gauge on Orange Charm, so that in total is 100% extra protection gauge while her skill is active. Frieren's our nuker, Violet's our support. It's, like I said, very straightforward. You could mix and match a number of these characters, but as long as you have Himmel and Frieren, like, you're pretty set up. Violet is good. You could bring VOC Blanc. You could bring Ogre's Pride Schooner for the triple orb alt swap. You could bring Octagram Lumi for the alt and the AoE damage. Like, there are a lot of different support characters you can bring, as long as they're not crit or pierce focused. Okay, well, we had to skip that turn. Alright, turn 1 we orb change with Shizu, and then we send her away, and she's never heard from again. So we send 6 oranges turn 1. Turn 2 is a lot better. I think the last turn we had like 5 non-orange orbs or something, so we couldn't convert. But here it works out a little bit better. We have a lot of traits kicking in for protection gauge. Shinsha, Frieren, Space Blanc underneath Violet, Light Blanc underneath Frieren. So we have a lot of protection gauge giving us, or a lot of traits giving us protection gauge every so often. So in order to maximize that, you want to really play around with who is up front and who is in the back on very specific turns. Turns 2, turn 3, turn 6, turn 8, all that. This team is going to nuke on turn 8. It's pretty easy. And then Stark, he can alt swap Frieren away, so that's helpful because we don't have any other alt swappers unless you bring like Blanc or someone. And you just kind of send alts as you get them. Once we get more characters for the Frieren collab, I assume Fern and 1 other person, maybe 2 unknowns if we get lucky, although lucky being subjective to how many crystals you have. They'll all have like weakness strike alts, and you can get a lot of extra damage off those because you're going to get a lot of alts here. So it's just, what can you do? How much damage can you eke out of your team? And if you're missing a little bit, then maybe instead of the protection gauge charm, you put like an AoE charm or a light attack charm on, or you bring a different support character. We don't have any other element buff besides what Himmel's giving us, so you could bring Light Lumi or Light Leon or Second Annie Hinata. Like, a lot of element characters will work. You could bring a secondary AoE nuker, like Shinsha or Exalted Champion Rimuru. Shinsha's buff wouldn't do much, because we're already getting ult damage from Frieren. But Exalted Champion Rimuru would give attack buff, which would work alongside Frieren's personal attack buff. So she'd get 170% with him. So, you know, gotta change your team up and figure out what's going to help you the most, whether you need more damage support or you need another DPS character. But turn 5, we've activated her magic state, so by turn 8, it's ready to go. And as long as we can max out Stark and get the whole 60% synergy down, it's really going to help our damage. This turn's great because we only have the Frieren ult, so we can swap it away, get a full hand of oranges that are not buffed by Shinsha right now. But even if we bring her in, we have another orange incoming, so we don't have to do anything else here. So then we can send Shinsha away, bring Shizu in, and we still have 6 oranges. So we're looking pretty good. And we have an EX ult for Stark. Not that that really means anything. But, yeah, we're working. And okay, we have 4 orbs that are not orange. Now it's going to be 3. And then once we ult swap with Stark again, it'll be 2. And then we could send him away for Shinsha or Violet or somebody. Doesn't really matter. And then we could either send these, or we could, yeah, just do this. Boom. Change that. And we'll just send these orbs. And then that'll get us our final stack of Himmel. Turn 8. Magic Unleashed state will take effect. 100% attack, 80% element down. We have plenty of points, because we're not really bringing that many big-time supports. Like, we've got a 90-point skill and an 80-point skill, and then a 25-point skill. And that's it. So, you know, our raw skill point output for damage is not that high, but it's still going to be more than enough to kill. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. We'll also get some orange orb damage, because we're going to full convert. So, I just kind of want to see how much our fully buffed Frieren orbs are going to do. So, I'm going to send them first. So, we've got 6 stacks of Himmel. That's pretty good. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's doing 1 million a hit. It's pretty good. And then here is going to be 200%, so that's 2 million. Really good. And then the AoE does 10 million. And they only had 7.5 million to start with, so we had about 3 million extra damage. Which goes to show, like, you can play around with this team, and as long as you have Himmel and Frieren, like, your options are pretty open as far as who you want to bring as support. So there's one option for you. Now let's try again with no Himmel and no Frieren, at least in the battle slot. Alright, the next team looks like this, and this is certainly a team. We've got Ogre's Pride Benimaru. We're going with the blue stacking meta. Ogre's Pride Benimaru stacks 10% ult damage, and then after turn 8, every single time you use him, for 1 turn you get 100% pierce power, which technically the stage doesn't want you to pierce. But if you put 100% pierce power and the 60% pierce resistance down that Shinsha's doing, you actually get a net positive on your pierce effect. So you actually don't really lose any damage. You're not doing negative damage there. So that's going to work. We've got Divine General Diablo for the synergy buff. Really powerful. Blanc for the ult swapping, the weakness strike, more synergy resistance down. And then we've got Festive Memories Momiji for the ult resistance down. It's going to be 180%, I believe. So she's going to give you a lot of extra damage. And if you don't have her, which I don't think a lot of people would, you could bring Almesia if you wanted to, and you can get 100% down. Because you can't bring Awakened Isis, because after turn 5, that runs out. And then we've got Shinsha as our AoE DPS character, and then Violet in the back, I think. I already forget, I was already looking at it. Yeah, Violet for the magic buff and the orb changing. So it's a pretty coherent team. It just has nothing to do with orange orbs, and it doesn't have a single collab character. And as you can see, I was using, like, lower tier support slot options. Groom Rimuru, Light Lumi. Weren't really trying to go super big whale, but this team can get it done. Just not in 8 turns. We gotta go a little bit past that. And so here, we're just trying to set it up. Because of Shinsha's orb change of antagonist orbs, both her and Violet are antagonists. So if we can somehow get it going where we can have only Violet and Shinsha orbs, and we can make them all oranges, we can really, really fast-track Shinsha's EX ult. And that's really going to help us, because that's now some guaranteed blue orbs that we don't have to worry about. So the first couple turns is all just setup. We're not actually truly stacking until turn 4, turn 5. But here, like, again, it's not really what I'm looking for, but I can full convert that into blues, just like I did it on turn 1. So that kind of got us started, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to still pray that somewhere along the line we can get good Shinsha and Violet Orbs, which here we kind of can work into it, because we could probably send Violet away and then bring her in next turn. So I think that's what I do here after some thinking, after some hard thinking. Or we just send him. Nope. Send him? Oh, we sent him. Okay. Well, that's fine too. I mean, Blanc is a single target magic character who's light, so I mean, her single target damage will be okay. Not super great, but okay. And then here, that's what I was looking for. Right there. So we swap Blanc out. We only have oranges, and the 2 blues are antagonist orbs, so let's use that convert. Boom. This will get us started real close to her EX ult. And now we're looking pretty good. Now we're going. We don't have that many stacks of Benimaru. But with the raw amount of power that we have in our support skills, doesn't really matter all that much. We're going to go, I think, to turn 10 on this team. And it can work. But unfortunately, I can't really convert this hand. So we're just going to have to send it. As long as we buff the greens a little bit, we can make something back. And then the greens are re-nerfed on turn 7, unfortunately. So here, works out a little better. Because we can bring you in for Diablo, and then we can just alt swap orb change. And now we have the EX ult with Shinsha, so we're just waiting until we have enough points to use everything. Because this team is a lot more expensive than the Frieren team we ran in the first clip. We've got 80 from Violet, 80 from Blanc, 50 from Shinsha, 90 from Diablo. We've got, 90 from Momiji. Like, we need a lot of points to ensure that we can kill. Because we don't have that extra 60% damage buff or the unbound state, because Shinsha is not an EX unbound character. So we need to go a little bit further in this fight. But obviously it's in the video, so it does do it. We just need to get to the point where we can get it done. So we could leave him up front, we could leave him in the back, really doesn't matter, or we can just convert and try and save everything. Momiji doesn't need to be up front for anything, but she is here to give the Pierce rate. So if she is going to be swapped out because you don't have her, and you want to run this team with the Pierce power, you need to bring someone else who can give you Pierce. So, good thing she's doing double duty, because she gives everyone Pierce and ult resistance down. If you were to bring like Commander Diablo, like the physical buff wouldn't matter here, because no one's physical. Dark Xion, I guess, could work, but then you'd sacrifice your turn 1's converts. So she's kind of necessary if you're going to run this specific team. If not, maybe you don't focus on Pierce. Maybe you use like Commander Renard instead and go about that, because that doesn't need really any setup, because it's just alt damage and or alt resistance down and weakness strike. But we are now ready to nuke. So boom, boom, boom. We've used the other 2 buffs, and now let's go ahead and send it after 2 stacks of Benimaru. So this is another 20% ult damage total and 100% Pierce power, guaranteed Pierce rate, 60% Pierce resistance down. 6 stacks is not a lot, but we haven't really had the best scenario. And then Shinsha does 11 million. So technically we didn't really need that much damage either. We really overkilled there. So there is more wiggle room in this team in the event that you don't have probably Momiji. You might have to go a little bit further because you don't have the Pierce. Maybe you do have the Pierce, but you don't have the ult resistance down. But hey, it does work. All right, and I know you're real excited for this one. Divine General can get the job done. Surprisingly, it can. It's not very fun to use, and this clip is 16, almost 17 minutes long, so there's no way in hell I'm going to sit here talking the entire time. But it does have the power. It's a single target team. We are not nuking with the light hero. We're not. You can try if you want, but her ult is awful. It has an awful multiplier. So we are going to bank on using Blanc and Raphael to single target nuke this fight. Mainly Yuki, because Yuki is the one that nerfs the greens and the blues. So he is your primary target. And as long as you can get set up, the greens, while nerfed, you can kind of get around it with Diablo and kind of get around it with, well, after a while, with Gazel's skill point increase. It takes a hot minute. So we're going to send 2 blues turn 1 and pray we get 6 oranges on turn 2. If you don't get that, you might as well reset because we kind of need to send full hands. Thankfully, we get a full hand of oranges. And now we just need to build up enough points, whether it be turn 4 or turn 5, to start full converting with greens. It's going to take a long time to get this team set up because we only have the one friggin' orb changer, and you don't get a lot of points off blues and oranges. So it takes a long time to get set up. Thankfully, we can keep everything relatively cheap, and by using Elmesia, they'll cleanse it when their turn starts, but nothing bad happens. A lot of the times in difficult fights nowadays, if they cleanse something, they like seal your protection gauge. It doesn't happen here, thank God. So that's the whole key, is that when you're ready to nuke, you'll use Elmesia and you'll seal their resistances to pierce, and then you could full-on nuke, and then they'll take it off, and then you continue on. Because I have to nuke a couple times with this team, because we don't do that much damage. That much damage being subjective, right? So, whole hand of greens, we got 123 skill points or something back. Like, it's not a lot, but we are closing on an EX alt for Raphael. Yeah, we've got decent skill points, so alt swap, boom. The weakness resistance doesn't really matter to Blanc and Raphael because they're space. It does help the hero orbs do more damage over time, but she's not a super huge priority. We just want to nuke with Raphael and Blanc. And ideally, on like turn 8 or turn 9, you'll be killing 2 of them. Yuki and then somebody else. You can take your pick who the other target is. But ideally, turn 8, 2 of them are dead, and that leaves 1 that you just have to rebuild your alt to, and then wait for the alt resistance to go down, and then you nuke the 3rd guy and you call it a day. So let's skip ahead to the nuke turn for turn 8. Okay, so turn 8. Here we go. We've got EX alts for both Raphael and Blanc. All we've done is literally stack synergy power, the orb change, the alt damage from Raphael's skill. Like, Divine General Team, you know how to work it. So it's time to full power nuke. We were going to seal him with Elmesia so we can actually use the Pierce from the hero. We've got the rewind, so if we don't kill, maybe some follow-up orbs can kill, and it's actually what we need. So, boom, skill cost reset, seal their abilities, boom, more stacks, and more stacks, and more stacks. Nope, never mind, let's rewind. So now we'll target Yuki, and then we'll send it on Gazel, and then the follow-ups will go back to Yuki just in case. And Blanc does 7.3 million, Raphael does 6.3 million, both not enough to kill their targets. So, follow-up orb, and then follow-up orb, 460k. Doesn't actually kill Gazel. But the rewind kicks in, and we've got a few orbs here that are still full buffed. So, let's send Raphael. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was like 1 million damage right there. And now he's dead. So, turn 8, 2 of them are dead. Congratulations. We still have a full HP Yom here, and we are not ready to kill him. And on turn 10, he reapplies like a 95% alt resistance buff. So very difficult to kill him when that's up. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer, because our seal doesn't affect that. So we just need to keep orb changing, keep alt swapping, keep buffing until we are ready to nuke. So skipping ahead again, turn 12. He doesn't have it anymore, but I'm not confident that I can kill with just a normal Raphael alt, because I don't think he's going to do 7 million damage. So I'm going to wait another couple of turns and get an EX alt for him, or get 2 alts for both him and Blanc, like one of the two. I'm just not confident in Raphael killing, and I don't want to blow all my points on this hand. So we're just going to continue to stack, and we're now up to 700 points. So it's like, we've got it. We've got the bank. It's just, I don't know if we can do it. So there's the alt resistance again. So we got to wait another couple of turns. So let's skip ahead. Yeah, it's 90% alt resistance. I don't want to deal with that. So Let's skip ahead to turn 13. 14 is where it leaves, I think. No, it leaves on turn 15, so we gotta go one more turn. Alright, one more turn, turn 15. Now it's time to nuke. We've got an EX Raphael ult, we've got a normal Blanc ult just to follow up in case, and now we can full buff, and we got plenty of points for that. So now, let's just go ahead and send it, and Raphael does 15.7 now, because we have extra stacks of everything. So Divine General can get it done. Definitely not in 8 turns, obviously, but it can just at least get you the win so you can get that bingo board mission. But that is all the teams I have for you today. If you have another team that is not one of these 3 that you found that can clear Inferno 1, please let me know in the comments and other people can see that. But that's it for me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.